Hey, it's Mack with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and it's Friday. It's November 21st. This will be our chart lesson for today, and it was really all downhill today. We had this nice run up during the overnight. Notice the real tight channel working up. We got a break here, a couple of legs up to a new high, and then it sold off. But really, right from the open, it was all downhill today, and we took a little bit of it back before the close. The last one I marked was just after the 1 o'clock hour. But there were some good trades here, and again, it was just all downhill. And we talked about this previously, but notice how all these little bars with lots of dojis and things in there. That's a fairly strong trend, and what this turned out to be was a two-tiered range. It didn't look that way, but once we broke through here and continued lower, you got to move a measured move over, and you see we even went a little bit lower than that, but it really was selling off here. And you've got a little short-term trend line down inside, inside the bigger trend here, and we overshot. And a lot of times when you get that overshoot like that, that's going to lead to a reversal soon thereafter, and usually it'll be on that same move. We had a little overshot of this one here, so when it couldn't get back above, that was a good signal or a good sign that something was going on. It's not uncommon to get a couple of overshoots and get back in the channel in reverse. But when you go lower a couple of different times like that, and then you're usually means just probably this is not your channel line, this is probably a midline, and we're probably going to make at least a measured move over like we did here. And we even went on through that. You see, we bounced off of it first and then moved on down lower. So I think it was a two-tiered channel working down, an overshoot, and then we corrected a little bit after that. But the market was just really weak today, and not much more you can say that it was just a weak market. Let's back out and talk about the trades. There really wasn't a good setup until late in the day. You don't want to take this first entry up here, and the second entry is not a very good setup. It's right into this strong support. Would have worked if you'd have taken it, but I see no reason to go short there. And you can see it. You get it bounced a few times, and it was tempting to go long right here. It really was. But you could see that, you draw this off those first few closes, drag it down, and we're bouncing right off of that. So you figure we're probably going up. But look at all that overlap and all those dojis. That generally means after a big move down, that generally means you're probably going to correct. So it's tempting to go long right there, but everything has gotten under the EMA. We had kind of a setup similar to this yesterday, and it failed. This one would have worked. There was a little bit of a difference by that little one tick trap, but it couldn't get out the upside. This is a second entry long, counting off of that little high right there. It's really not a new high, so it's really, you could treat it like a second entry long, first entry, pullback, second entry. Actually, that's a third entry because you had a little break higher there. You definitely don't want to go long right there, but it was tempting here because we were starting to see the overlap, and that congestion there will usually occur where you're going to get a little bit of a reversal. Not necessarily a little bit of a reversal, but that's where you're going to get a reversal. And this was only a small reversal. So that's where the little bit was coming into my mind there. It came out of my mouth quicker than I wanted it to. But I guess you could describe that as a little bit of a reversal, but that wasn't my intent. So um, sometimes my mouth moves faster than my brain. But anyway, it turned down right off the suspected trend line there, and you can see even if you didn't have it up here yet, you could have drawn it right off that and drug it up to there and got it. So you should have had that in place by now, although this is strong support, so you can't ignore it. You might have thought about going short there. I think it's a little premature. It's a little bit aggressive. I did mark it as an aggressive trade if for some of you that took it. But when it turned up and then turned back down again right there, right off that same line, now you got to look at the new low, first entry, pullback, second entry. There's a second entry short there. It's a little close to this, but you could use a limit order here and could have gotten in maybe a tick back a little better, but either way it would have worked. And it just keeps on going. Then you get a pullback. It's like a breakout pullback short. But what I really liked about this is this is a little double top here, so it's like a new high. And actually, you can treat this either way. It can either be the high here, or you can count this as a new high. But notice the little pullback first entry, pullback second entry. So it's like a failed second entry short. It's a breakout pullback short. There's a couple different reasons. I would have used a limit order here because that's not a very pretty signal bar. So I would have definitely used a limit order there, but it's right off that trend line. There's several things right off the EMA. Everything's under the EMA now. It's right inside this channel, right off the top part. Sometimes it's better to wait on the second entry, but there were enough reasons I like this one if you used a limit order. Even if you used a stop, it would have worked. It's not a very pretty signal bar though, so when you get those kind, I prefer to let it break lower and try to sneak in a tick or so back in that bar and get a little better entry. But then you get a double top and a second entry right here, and notice that new low, pullback first entry, pullback second entry. So that's a second entry short. You did get a little bit of a break here. So this kind of confused me. I really didn't think this trend, when it overshot right here, I thought we were done and that we would probably continue higher, but it didn't happen. But notice how we overshot it here, and we kind of overshot the same amount. It's like a measured move on each side. If you measure it, it's about the same, 2 or 3 ticks. And the real key was when we couldn't get higher here, and you really take off lower again. So there's something going on. You definitely don't want to take that first entry. And this is a questionable second entry. I went back and forth about whether or not to make this one green because there is some overlap there, but notice where the overlap's happening. It's after a move up, so we're probably going to get a correction to the other direction. But it breaks higher, and you got a little, you do have a little overlap, but it's coming right off that trend line. So what I would recommend, what I would do if I'm taking this trade is I wait on it to break lower and I drop a limit order in there, maybe a tick back into that bar and see if I can sneak in a little better. Wouldn't have mattered. You had to kind of ride the little pullback back, but then it just takes off. And then you get the failed. Let me move these. You can't hardly see it, but notice you got a new high, first entry, pullback, second entry. When that fails, there's no question. You jump in. This thing's going lower. And I'm guessing what happened there were a lot of traders that thought this thing was going to reverse because it looks like you get a break here, which it doesn't look like it. You do get a break the way we've got it drawn. And I think it's correct. I just think the market was too weak and it didn't reverse, until it went a whole lot lower. But when you get that failed second entry long in a downtrend right off the trend line 3 times there, just go short right there. Quick, easy move. And it was really tempting to enter here too, but look at all that overlap. There's just too much overlap right there. Too many bars in a row. It is a failed. Notice the triple matching highs and a little break higher, but it's such a big bar that I think it's just too risky to enter right there. So I'm going to make this one that color. I just think that's too risky to enter in. And if it would have broke higher there and then turned down, I would have liked it, a whole lot better entering there. But at that point, you're still thinking this is probably the channel, and there's not a whole lot of room there either. Although when it shot on through and started, look how it's acting as resistance on this side. That's a clue that, hey, this thing is probably going to go lower. It's probably a midline because it's acting as support and resistance. Where notice how it just shot through there and then reversed. That's the way it'll usually do if it's just a trend channel line or whatever. And then again, it was tempting to enter here as well, but again, it's almost a repeat pattern of this one right here. Notice how you got all the matching highs and it breaks higher. Thinking about it like that, it's a whole lot easier to say some of this stuff after the fact, but when you're watching it in real time, what you see right there, it is a break, and you expect it's probably going to try to make a new low off of this channel if this is a valid channel, but you already had a break here and a new low, so I just think it's really risky. But looking at it, after the fact, I see a move up, a move down, and another move up, and then so there's a little two-legged correction in there on a smaller chart. You'd see a clear second entry short there. It's right off the EMA. Uh, this is acting as support and resistance off this, what I thought was the channel line, turns out to be a midline. So there's some reasons to be aggressive and enter there and look at it go. And it turns out to be a great trade. It breaks higher again there, and no way you're going to enter way down here. I don't think you want to enter long here either. This thing is really weak at this point. Oops, didn't mean to do that. So I don't think you want to enter long there. Although there's an aggressive long because it's way away from the EMA and it's way overdue to come back. But I'm not going to mark that one. I just think it's too aggressive. And then there's not a very good second entry long either. If it broke lower and then went up, if it went on out, maybe you go long there. You figure it's coming back to this side, but since it overshot this much, it could undershoot that much on this side as well. It didn't know. I thought it once we started touching, I figured it was going to overshoot, but it never did. Okay, had a little interruption there, but yeah, I think that's. I don't think you want to go long there either, and I'm not. You're not really thinking short here when it breaks below this bar, and you're not really thinking long here either. You're just kind of sitting to wait and see what happens. But look how bearish that bar is right off of that trend line. And so when it broke below that one, I liked going short there because you figure you're going to, when you get a sell off that steep, it's very rare that you're not going to test it again or attempt to test it again. And you can see we struggled and then they tried it one more time and now you got a reversal pattern. That's kind of a reversal pattern. You got your low and your little double test, and if you drew that trend line right there, it tests it again and it fails, and those are two fairly bullish bars. There's a lot of buying coming in there now, so I like that for an aggressive long. And you see it would have been a really good trade. You could have ridden that, all the way back up to, and when you drew that line, you should have drug it up here to see if it fit, and you can see it did. We overshot it there, but it came back and got in. So I think that's a valid. This is actually a midline right here. I didn't make it dotted. But that's what I saw today. It was fairly easy day. It was all downhill. The only thing that was a little bit confusing about today was this overshoot and the fact that it went so much further before it reversed. And that's the thing. You never know. That's why you can't just blindly buy after a reversal. You got to wait on a reversal type pattern. And nowhere do we get a reversal pattern until right here. This one was, looked like it might be going to be a reversal, but we never did get that little failed second entry short before it went higher. You got one right here, but it's right into that trend line, and I don't think you want to enter right there after that big a move up. Notice you got one leg, pull back, two legs. So you already got two measured legs up, and this is just congestion. And congestion normally forms at the end of a big move. And so this is at the high, so the odds are it's going to sell off and look, and then you get a little bit of somewhat congestion down here, but it's got more of a clear pattern there. So anyway, that I hope that makes sense. After two legs up, seeing congestion, you got to be careful. Just like on the way down here, you got congestion, so you're probably going to get a little correction attempt. And of course, it failed and went lower, but it's just that's just another clue to kind of watch for. So again, other than the little break and the continued move down, it was really straightforward day. And this is why you don't counter trend trade. This is why you don't argue with what prices are doing, even though you had a break and you're thinking reversal all the way down through here. Until you get a trap or a reversal type pattern, just stay with it and don't try to be cute with it. That's the best advice I can give you. So, but you did have to be really patient early this morning, early on. There just wasn't anything till almost 9 o'clock. I mean, it's just kind of there's really a little tight trading range here. You got an overshoot of it there a couple of times, but really most of your pricing is right in that little area right there until you broke lower. And then it really kind of gave you a measured move lower there, as you can kind of see. Not quite a measured move looking at it like that, but if you come down to where you really found your lows there, it's pretty much measured moves. So, and that's pretty standard what you're looking for. But anyway, nothing much else to talk about today. It's Friday. I'm going to wrap it up. I'm getting this done a little late anyway. So hope you had a good trading week. We'll be back to do it again Monday. This is Mack with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and we'll see you next time.